All right, Shalom. I'd like to start up with saying Ka Halayim La Yahweh, Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai, Ba Hashem Harakah Kwadash Ma'amath. Double honors to the elder apostles, a great millstone, and my elder Heroin as well. Salutations to the argument that are pushing the truth to sincerity and truth, and peace and blessings to the men, women, and children that believe in the name of Yahweh Ba Hashem Yahweh Shai. I'm Chanak Sa'an Bani Yasharallah from the Lions Den of Yasharallah camp. And this is another Lions Den of Yasharallah news and prophecy. And I want to start out with this in Revelations 1:7. And it says, Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so, Amen. All right, so this scripture is in relation to this article that I was reading, and it says backyard nationalists, UFOs, and strange things going on. And we all know, the ones that are in the know, that these what they call UFOs are actually the chariots of Yahweh by Shemel Shai, getting prepared for a great exodus and the deliverance of the elect of the children of Israel. So while the rest of the world is dismayed by the signs of heaven, the ones that are in the know, the ones that have their faith in Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, are rejoicing when experiencing and seeing these things come to pass. All right, understanding that our salvation is nearer than what we believe, man. You know, we're right at the door of our salvation, and so the more we hear about these encounters and information of these so-called UFOs, the more the men of the Lord and the women of the Lord rejoice in that. It's like you. All right, it says, thinking about strange lights in the sky has reminded columnist Dana Wilde about an unexplained encounter he had about 50 years ago with a cone-shaped aircraft. All right. It says, while I was thinking about strange lights in the sky a while back, it naturally came to mind that the United States military, after decades of denying it, has finally let it be known that their guys have logged some inexplicable airborne events. It says they call these events unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAPs, but we know what they are. All right. It says trying to shuck the acronym that has become one of the most spectacularly ambiguous words in the English language, UFO. It says this led to thinking about a couple of personal experiences I have by a large kept to myself for decades. One in particular, right, and there goes the picture right there. It says the image taken in 2015 of an unexplained object seen at the center as it soars high along the clouds, traveling against the wind. There's a whole fleet of them, right? And in Ezekiel chapter 1 explains the formation of the fleet and how they maneuver and how they travel in formation and how they are in order, you know. It says, then a couple of weeks ago came a report from credible news outlets about former U.S. intelligence officials who says he has indirect but documentable knowledge that aircrafts of non-human origin, or at least pieces of them, have been recovered and studied. All right. Of course, they're not human like as we're human, but they're not little green men with bug eyes either. They're the men of the Lord, the angels of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. It says, It says the United States government and some others, he said, have worked on back engineering technology from the craft. He does not know about any aliens. So they so-called found some. They so-called found some aircrafts that were supposed to be UAPs, and they tried to use reverse engineering to really understand the technology behind what propels it and how it mainly operates. Which I don't believe that, because I don't think the Lord's going to allow them to. First of all, they're not going to be able to shoot them down, because the technology of the crafts of Yahweh by Shem Shai are way more advanced than anything on this earth in this realm. So they don't have anything unless it was done by accident, which I highly doubt. All right. It said the guy's name is David Grush. He reportedly is an Air Force veteran of combat in Afghanistan and later was a National Reconnaissance Office representative to the government Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon Task Force. So he had first-hand access to the information. Other military officials have vouched for his integrity. Right, so basically, they're saying that the reports and the things being explained by this individual is he's a credible source. So the things that he's saying are validated. All right. Get a couple scriptures on deck while as I read the article. Scriptures come to mind. It says it's really hard to know what to make of this. If the government has been keeping secrets about crashed aircraft of non-human origin for at least 8 decades, then how could David Crouch possibly be the first whistleblower on the secrets? If ye have read much about UFOs, you know that the rabbit hole you do not want to go down, because you'll almost instantly be unable to separate fact from fiction from hoax. All right, it says, on the other hand, you might also know that serious objective researchers and journalists have investigated thousands and thousands of UFO reports and repeatedly concluded basically 2 things. Something strange is going on, and 2, it is not known what it is. But we know, those that, quick testimony, I got into an accident. I had an accident in 2017, and when I got home from the hospital, I was confined in one area on the couch because I couldn't walk. And when I was able to walk, I used to go outside and look up at the sky and look for chariots. And my mom used to ask me, what am I looking at? And I would kind of explain to her what I was looking at, and she just, brushed it off or whatever. But those that are like the scripture said, look up, because your salvation is nearer than what you once believed. Those that are looking up spiritually and physically know exactly what these encounters are, and they know it's for our salvation. We know it's for our salvation, and this is what we've hoped for over the years, over the course of the years, coming into the truth and experiencing the revelation of Yahweh by Shem Shai. All right, I said. All right, so the article says, you're kind of left to your own disposition, to your ability to sort fact from fantasy, and in some cases to your own experience. Not to find a point on it, but it was personal experience of mine that I thought of during my strange lights kick. I have told to very few people before letting it fly to speak here. All right. It says, I am not making this up. One afternoon in about 1972, I was walking across the $1 Million Bridge from Portland to South Portland. My eye was caught by flashing lights to my right. I looked over to see, as a clear day, a cone-shaped aircraft plugging slowly around towards the bridge, maybe 75 feet above the Fore River. It was about the size of a Volkswagen Bug. The tip of the cone pointed up, and flashing lights were round about the lower rim. All right, so he's describing a chariot, and these are the chariots of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. All right, so this is something similar to what Ezekiel saw when he was describing the chariots when he saw them. As a matter of fact, this is Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 27. It says, and I saw as the color of amber, as the appearance of fire round about with it, from the appearance of his loins even upward, from the appearance of the loins even downward. And I saw that it was the appearance of fire, and it had brightness round about, as the appearance of a bow in a cloud. No, that's not the one I'm looking for. Basically, in Ezekiel chapter 1, it describes lights being on the chariots. All right. But basically, this is what this individual is describing also. The appearance of lights around, flashing lights around this object, or this aircraft that he's seen hovering over the river as he walked towards across the bridge. All right. It says, so back to the article, it says, I stopped to watch it. How did it stay aloft? I had 100 or so hours piloting small airplanes as a teenager and knew about lift. I thought there must be a large propeller in the base, but I could not see any propeller, and I had never heard of a helicopter-like rotor installed inside an aircraft with no wings or rudder visible. Whether that could be even work seemed doubtful, but there it was, flying as solid and real as everything else in the scene. I can't actually remember seeing it cross the bridge, but I do have an image of it dawdling away down river towards Portland Harbor. I walked home and excitedly tried to tell my brother and father what I had seen. I wanted to call the Portland airport and ask them to help me identify it. My father, who being a pilot was a frequent visitor to the airport and knew people there, was pretty skeptical of the whole story and discouraged me from making any such calls. All right, it says because whatever I saw was solidly real, it did not occur to me right then that I was seeing anything but some kind of experimental aircraft which somehow flew with a rotor in its base. What would be doing in Portland, Maine was a baffling question. It says, I put the incident away in memory, figuring that eventually I would learn about such a vehicle, but as far as I can tell, there is no conventional aerodynamic way to get lift to fly the structure I saw chugging along over the Fore River. It was a long time before my skeptical scientific mind relented and started referring to it in my personal memory banks as a UFO. Whatever that might mean, in literature there are documented accounts of sometimes many people at the same time, similarly seeing strange unidentified aircraft in broad daylight in cities with no FAA explanation for what they saw. I even seen a couple of drawings from such sightings of cone-shaped crafts that resemble what I saw that afternoon. All right. So basically, he saw a chariot, man, and we see him a lot. Mind you, like when I got out of the hospital and I was able to walk around and go for walks at night, I would looking up in the stars for chariots. And I remember one time when I first came into the truth, I was with the elder Aharawan, and we were leaving out of the gym, and he was just kind of like explaining to me some stuff, like, we were really in depth in conversation, and as we were standing outside the gym, I seen a chariot come down out of the sky, and it was coming lower and lower and lower and lower. And as I cut him off in mid conversation and pointed, as he looked up, it shot up in the air. I remember coming home or picking up my two youngest kids' mother. We were together at the time, picking her up from work. And as we were leaving her job, she was looking out of the windows and she pointed at the sky. She's like, "Oh, look, there's a chariot." I said, "No, that's a helicopter." And she's like, "Yo, babe, I'm telling you, it's a chariot." So I'm like, "Girl, that's a helicopter." So me trying to prove a point, I pulled over. And as I pulled over, we got in the car. I said, "See, that's a helicopter." But it was one streak of light. And as it moved, it spread into three, into like a V formation. And I was like, "Oh shit, that is a chariot." And there's other encounters that I've experienced in time since I've been in this truth, and being able to understand what it was, by being explained to me by the elder and the apostles, to have a true understanding that these are the chariots of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. And that's our deliverance up out of this place. And, this is our Psalm chapter 68 and 17. It says, "The chariots of Yahweh are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them in Sinai, as in the holy place." All right, so, when these chariots show up, like the first scripture that I read was, "He cometh in the clouds, and all eyes shall see him." When these chariots shows up, Yahweh Shai is going to be in the midst of them, man. And so, like I said, not only are they going to be delivering, but they're going to be bringing destruction also. I'm going to get a couple more scriptures to close out. This is Revelation chapter 11, verse 11. It says, "After 3 days and a half," verse 12, it says, "And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them. And then that same hour there was a great earthquake," right? So as Lord willing, a part of that number, as we ascend into the clouds, right, being beamed up by these chariots, everybody's going to see what's going on, right? Verse 13, it says, and at that same hour there was a great earthquake, and a tenth part of the city fell, and the earthquake were slain of men 7,000, and the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to Yahweh, the power of heaven. We're going to give glory to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai, right? Because at the same time of deliverance, it's going to be missiles striking this place, man, and chariots zapping this place. All right, close it out with this. Is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 21. It says, then shall the right aiming thunderbolts go abroad, and from the clouds as from a well-drawn bow shall they fly to their mark, right? And those are the lasers zapping this place from the chariots. All right, and hailstones full of wrath shall be cast out of the stone bow, and the water of the sea shall rage against them, and the flood shall cruelly drown them, right? So these are all the things that are going to be happening, all right, while the children of Israel, the elect of the children of Israel, are being delivered. And this is going to be done by those chariots that are being sent down to deliver the elect of Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, Lord, when this lesson was edifying and serve his purpose, with that, I'd like to say, Ka Halayim La Yahweh, Ba Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba Shem Harakak Wadash Ma'amath. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone and my elder Herawan as well. Salutations to the Akim that are pushing the truth, the sincerity and truth. And peace and blessing to the men, women, and children. I believe in the name of Yahweh Ba Shem Yahweh Shai. Shalom.